Hi, I'm Buzz from My Electric Vehicle Journey.
And I'm Charles.
And today we're in a BMW i3. I'm going to take it for a spin and let you know what we think about it.
Yeah, let's go. So there are 3 modes on this car. There's Comfort, Eco Pro, and Eco Pro Plus. Comfort, like you said, is kind of like the sports equivalent. It's the most peppy, also takes the most electric charge. You can switch it at any point on the fly. I've been kind of test driving an Eco Pro. So on your map, on your navigation, it can show you the range you can go, like how far in a circle.
Oh, look at that. That's
Comfort
very
Eco
cool.
Pro. It's showing we have 55 miles on electric charge. So
Okay.
if I were to switch that right here, it's just a thing in the middle console. You hit that. In here, it'll flash the Eco Pro and tells you on your system here. And so now we got 61 miles just on doing that alone. And it didn't change our air conditioning at all.
And that's the middle setting.
That's the middle setting that I'm sure if you really drove it, I didn't notice much of a difference as far as performance. In fact, 90% of when I was driving yesterday was in that mode. So that's cool, and the map on here is fantastic. Like we said, you can kind of see where you're going to go. So if you have range anxiety, this helps to alleviate it. This also will show you where charging stations are around you. And it does have the DC charging. You can get that I don't think all of them come with that. I think it's like a little extra price.
It is an option, yeah.
But that's a really cool feature to have. So
yeah, for those of you who don't know what that is, DC fast charging, well, there's 3 levels of charging. You know, you can plug it into 110 and let's say in the case of a Volt, because that's what I have the most experience with, you're talking 10 to 12 hours to charge. There's a 240 volt charger. I've got a couple of those at my house, which cuts it down to about 4 hours. Now, this DC fast charging is just pushing electrons into the battery, and
but it's a really cool thing, though.
Oh yeah, but you can do 80% of the charge in 20 minutes. So you could actually stop, you know, if you had a service station, let's say, that had a DC fast charger, and grab a quick burger at their snack bar while your car's charging up to 80% capacity.
Yeah. I could tell you that as far as handling and performance, I think it's the best handling car I've ever driven. Even better than my 328.
Really?
The turn radius. This thing, I could turn it in a circle on the street. Like, just boom, do it. Now, you could say it's a smaller vehicle, and it is smaller, although I feel really comfortable in the cabin. And it's not even like one of those smart cars where it feels comfortable, there's no back seat. I feel like the back seat in here is pretty big, right? I mean, it feels like there's a lot of room. But I love the handling, and I love how peppy it is.
Well, the thing that surprised me, you mentioned the back seat room, is we were arguing about how big this car is compared to the one that I normally drive. And the government rates the i3 as a subcompact and the Volt as a compact. And you and Bonnie, my wife, both said, well, of course, don't you see that? And no, this rides higher. The seat is 6 inches higher off the ground than my Volt is. It feels more like a small crossover, like, say, the Chevy Equinox.
It does, except, you know.
And it feels roomy.
But it does look shorter from the outside.
The length, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, and narrower, too, probably, I would have to say. But so, yeah, I mean, all of that, I just love the performance, man. You get on the gas and it goes.
Well, I think part of that, actually the car is, I think the only EV that's wider than this one in the wheel distance is the Tesla Model S. So you've got a wide stance with this car, which gives you that handling. You do have the shorter wheelbase, so that front wheel to back wheel is a shorter distance. And so you get that handling feel that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And yeah, your turning radius is, I think, 32.3 feet in this. The Volt is up around 35. So
I don't know what my 328 is, but...
Oh, surely it's bigger.
I would imagine, yeah, I don't know. And I've had that handled really well.
Yeah. You know, the steering feel, I admit, is very tight, and it on the freeway, I feel it jars me too much. On city driving, where I'm wanting to weave in and out of stuff, I really love it. Now, the thing that really got me, and this is the same thing that got me on the Cadillac ELR, and I've got it running right now, is the ELR calls it adaptive cruise. I can't remember what they call it with this one, but it's looking at the distance from me to the car in front of me, and it adjusts its speed automatically. And so if somebody cuts me off, the car can decelerate very quickly, including even braking.
I mean, you can even see on your thing now, it tells you how far a car is in front of you, and you could change the car length from 1 car to 4 cars. So
right.
It's kind of just a great safety feature. I know you love it.
I love it.
You wish the Volt had it.
Yes, I really wish the Volt had it. In fact, the next Volt has to have it, or I'm probably going to the Cadillac ELR, or maybe this. I mean, I need longer distances because I do road trips a lot. The other thing about the Cruise, or it's actually the dashboard here, it knows the speed limit of the
Yeah.
road I'm on and
Like,
shows it to me.
Right now it's 60, and yeah, and you're
And we're not
speeding.
Oh no, we're not. We're, for all you law enforcement officials out there, no, we're not. So yeah, the sensors, they're great sensors for looking forward to maintain that distance. And in fact, it's warning me right now. We're getting kind of close to that truck, so you see we're slowing down. It's got great sensors for backing up to, and a fantastic backup camera. But the backup camera has these green predictive steer lines, and as you turn the steering wheel, they'll show you where the car is going to go. And then there's these two red arcs that kind of do like this. And I figured out what those are for.
What are they for?
The red arcs are if you turn as tight as you can on the steering wheel, that's the arc you can take. So it's showing you where you're going to go and the best you can do. So that was kind of a neat thing to discover.
That's really cool. But okay, so that's really cool. I love the dash. Things I don't like, and probably a lot of the same things you don't. So the front, there's no engine in the front. It's a tiny, tiny trunk. I mean, it's not even a trunk. It's like a little cubby hole in the front. It feels like a waste. They could have made the entire thing a trunk, and that would have been better.
Tesla has that and calls it a frunk.
Let's talk about other things. Let's talk about I want to say is going to be the main thing with this car. I think you know where I'm going.
No, I know where you're going. The styling.
Outside, the exterior, the styling.
Oh, it's the interior too.
Let's talk about the outside first, because
Okay, outside
I
first.
love the interior. I'm going to say that. But the exterior, it's a polarizing thing, and I think
Well, you like it.
I would say that most people aren't going to like the exterior. I think it's a unique looking car. Let's put it that way. It's like every I don't know. I don't know. It's more compact, more square. It's definitely unique styling. It looks like no other BMW on the market, good or bad.
Well, yeah, but it does have the two, I think they call them kidney windows up.
Yeah, I
on
know the grill. The
you
BMW
know.
grill is
Yeah.
awesome. Still has that, even though it serves no purpose. It's just a styling thing.
Yeah.
If you didn't see that or the BMW emblem, you wouldn't know this was BMW.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I mean, it's kind of one of those unique looking cars.
And
so.
this is a pet peeve of mine. When the Prius first came out, it was a dramatically different looking car, and it turned me off. But the Prius, did, because of the gas mileage range it had, it took off, and it's probably the gold standard for adoption curves for new automotive technology. So this is kind of funky looking. Well, I had this sitting outside my house overnight, charging with the charge cable that I normally have plugged into my Volt, and the 2 volts were in the garage. Well, the next door neighbor, new into the neighborhood, but she has seen that we have plug-in cars. She said, "Oh, did you get a new electric car?" And I said, "Well, no." Told her about the blog, and told her about the test drive. So she was asking me questions. Everybody's curious about these electric vehicles and wonder about if it's viable in their life, and is it a good thing, is it not? She asked it how expensive it was, and so I started talking about not only the price, but how much you save in operation and maintenance. So I said, "You've never driven one?" She said, "No." I said, "How would you like to drive this one?" And she, kind of stepped back from me. She goes, "Really?" I said, "Sure, let's jump in." So we jumped in, and within a few minutes of driving, the look on her face, I wish I'd had your cameras with me at that point.
I know.
Her face, in fact, I mentioned this in an EV group on Facebook, and somebody said, "Oh, they had an EV-gasm." And I'd never heard that word before, but I think that's a good word. When people have, well, of course I do. When people have that reaction, I mean, it's just shocking to them.
I mean, you really just get in the car, you press the start stop, and you use the thing towards you or away from you to go to drive or reverse. So it's just kind of insane how that works. It's just like boom, boom, boom. On top of it's the parking. So when you're ready to put it in park, kind of like an automatic transmission, well, exactly like an automatic transmission. When you're ready to put it in park, you just hit the P on top, puts it in park, and then you can turn it off.
In the BMW world, they talk about one pedal driving. You can actually drive this car with only the accelerator pedal.
And that's because as soon as you take your foot off the gas, or I know gas is probably the wrong word, but as soon as you take your foot off of that pedal, it will slow down to a complete stop. I mean, in a matter of seconds.
Even I was on a hill going down, and it came to a complete
And the reason
stop.
it does that, it helps charge the battery back up, right? Brake pads and all that are really expensive to change out.
Yep.
On this car, you wouldn't be having to do that as much because you're not braking. You're using the car to do it.
Yeah.
The other thing is, too, on that same note, the tires on this thing are a unique BMW concept, but they're proprietary. So if you had a flat, you have to go to BMW and buy them that way. I don't know if that's ever going to change, but it's because they're really unique looking wheels. They're really tall and they're really narrow. But I guess the concept though was that you get more of the tire on the ground at all times, which is better for electrical mileage.
Yeah, in fact, in the Terra model, the one we're in, you've got the largest tire size they allow, which is 19-inch tires. So it is definitely a taller tire. to compare, the Z51 Stingray, the tires are 19 and 20, 19 in the front, 20 in the back. So these are relatively tall tires compared to
but really
other cars
narrow.
out
They
there.
do look funny when you look at them.
Yeah, but you see a lot of economy cars have these tiny little diameter tires, and they're having to turn more times for each mile they go down the road, and they're going to wear out faster, and you're going to end up replacing them earlier. So the bigger the circumference you can get up to a point is good for tire life as well. I would have to live with the doors to see how I really feel about it. The back doors are hinged in the back, and to let a passenger out, you've got to open the front door. So I'm dropping my kids off at school on a rainy day. Now I've got to open my door so that they can open their door, and both doors are getting wet.
Yeah, I mean,
I have a problem with that.
I do. It's not because it's not a coupe, so but it's kind of halfway in between a coupe and a sedan. I love having 4 doors. I love passenger to be able to get out without me having to do anything or anybody else having to do anything. But this is kind of halfway in between. I don't love that. That would be a knock against this vehicle. I wish it was just 4 doors.
Well, but then again, on the Cadillac ELR, not only would I have to open the door to let them out, but I'd have to tilt my seat forward to let them out.
I wasn't a big fan of the Cadillac. I mean, I thought it was pretty cool, but I would rather, I don't know, I would just rather have more of a sedan type vehicle. Having said that, though, I feel like there's a lot of room in the back of this car. More than I thought there would be.
And I think part of that is the way the doors open gives you a more open illusion as you're stepping in. It turns out the interior passenger space in this car is smaller than the Volt. Now the seat, I measured this myself, the seat is 6 inches higher off the ground. That was one thing my next door neighbor commented on when she went on the test drive, was that it felt more like you were more raised like an SUV, and she likes that sensation. In fact, I think the performance of the car, the quietness, and riding up a little higher, it won her over. I think she drives a big SUV now that's a gas guzzler, but she is willing to overlook anything funky about the looks. And I think it's funky to me because I'm 56. I think that the younger generation coming up, this is probably a hip looking car to them, like say the Scion, is that how you pronounce it?
Scion.
Scion, yeah, those things, kids just love them, and I just hate them, the way they look. So I think part of it is generational.
Maybe. I mean, this is a unique looking car. I don't even know if it looks like those.
Unique's not bad, though.
It's not bad.
It's just different.
I like it. Personally, I do like it, but it is different. It's not an i8, which looks, everybody can agree the i8 is just a sexy car.
Yeah, without a doubt.